In this video, I'm going to show you how to make the best 5-gallon bucket DIY chicken water and feeder for under $20 a piece for your flock. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So the other week we moved all the chicks down here to the chicken coop and we've got them in the electric net and they're all doing really good, but they are still eating and drinking a whole lot. It's been really hot. They're going through about 2 gallons of water a day. I've been having to fill it up twice a day, and then also their feed. So we've been feeding them in 2 of these just 1 gallon size standard chicken feeders, and then we also have 2 1-gallon waterers in there. Like I said, we're having to come down here a lot to water and feed them, which is fine. There's 61 birds in there, and as they get bigger, they're eating and drinking more and more. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make 5-gallon DIY water and feeder for under $20 a piece. Really simple, really quick, nothing major or hard about it at all. So what you're going to need, obviously, 2 5-gallon buckets with lids and 2 pans of some kind. I bought metal pans just because they were a lot cheaper than the rubber ones, but the rubber ones will work just fine as well. So to start out, we're going to make the feeder first. The bucket goes in the pan. We're going to use a drill with a hole saw. I think this is 1 3/4 inches. We're going to drill several holes down here at the bottom all the way around the bucket. You don't want to go all the way to the bottom because there's a little bit of a lip there, but we're just going to poke some holes in here. Right like that. So for my case, this project only cost about $20. All I had to do was buy the pans. I've had these buckets for a while that we've used to feed the chickens in the past, so if you can find some old buckets, you can do this for about $12 a piece, depending on how cheap you can find these pans. A 5-gallon water like this, it looks all pretty and nice and professionally made, will cost you about $56 at your local farm store. At least that's what it costs for me. So now that we've got the holes drilled around our bucket, so you can either just leave it straight like this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw the pan to the bottom of the bucket. So we're going to put our bucket in here pretty much center in the pan, put our block down in there to give our screws something to hold on to, and then we're just going to screw it from underneath. We'll put one on this side. That is your completed 5-gallon chicken feeder. So now that we got the feeder all finished and screwed together, all we got to do now is fill it up. So you can see the feed comes out of these holes really nice, and it doesn't come out over on top. As the chickens come around and peck, more and more of that feed's going to spill out until it fills up to where it can't run out anymore. So what we're going to do with the water is, it's real simple. Put our bucket in the pan, get it kind of centered. We're going to drill 1 hole with a 3/8 inch drill bit. It's smaller than my finger. You want to make sure you drill the hole below the top of this pan. So we're going to take a marker, we're going to angle it down a little bit and mark the bucket. Wherever you mark that bucket is where the water level is going to be in the pan. So if you want a lot of water, you can mark it just below the lip, or if you want just a little bit of water for like younger chicks and stuff, you can mark it down at the bottom of the bucket and it won't fill the pan up as much. We're just going to come in here right at our mark and drill 1 hole. So once we've drilled our hole in our bucket, we put it down in our pan and we're done. That's it. We're not going to screw it to the bottom or screw any holes through the pan, because then all your water would eventually leak out. The way this works is it's physics. It just works. So once the water level rises up to the hole in the bucket, the pressure kind of equalizes out and it won't overcome the rest and spill out in the bucket, as long as you have a lid. If you take the lid off, all the water is just going to rush out of the bucket through that hole. And if that one hole isn't enough for your flock, you can always drill another hole on the other side. So the only challenge with this waterer is when you take the lid off to fill it up, the water's going to want to rush out of this hole. All you got to do is just make you a little plug out of a stick, piece of rubber, or you can just hold your finger over it while you fill it up. No big deal. So this is all I'm going to do for right now for this water. Just set the bucket in it. You can put a bead of silicone around the bottom to keep the pan attached to the bucket if you want it that way. But I want to be able to take the bucket out so I can clean the pan really good, put the bucket back in. And as long as this thing has a little bit of water in it, chickens aren't strong enough to push it around and stuff. So we'll put the lid on, snap it on. You can see the little plug here is keeping the water from coming out. As soon as you take that out, the water is going to come pouring out. Once it pulls a vacuum in the bucket, it'll have to suck air up through that little hole. This will bubble for a while until this pan gets full. I promise it'll stop as long as the water's not running over top of the pan before it reaches the height of that hole that you bored. And that's all there is to it. It's real simple, really cheap. So we're gonna go stick these in the chicken coop and see how the chickens like them. I think for now it's going to work. The feeder's definitely working. They have access to a whole lot more feed than they did with those two little feeders. So all in all, I think this was a really good project. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And if you've made something similar to this, let me know in the comments below how you did that and how it's working. Appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you in the next one.